Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners. Tonight we don't have a hip hop artist, but we got a hip hop journalist and publicist, and one of the best at that. We got New Jersey's own, the finest. We got MJ of MJ's Hip Hop Connex right here live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
What's good, DJ Immortal? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing out in New Jersey?
I'm in Jersey, and I'm so hyped to be on Canada radio right now. You have no idea.
I'm going to be honest with you. In a way, I kind of feel the same way because I've always wanted to go to New Jersey, personally. I always, saw it in video games and movies. It looks like a hell of an amazing state. So, but I'm stuck here in Canada.
You're not missing much.
Trust me, you're not missing much down here either. Canada, people put a lot of hype on our country, but at the end of the day, we're just a boring country.
It's crazy because everyone that I speak to, they're like, I want to go to Canada. I want to go to Canada. I'm definitely intrigued, but I'm so hyped to just be on the airwaves right now.
I appreciate that, and honestly, I'm gonna be real with you, MJ. Honestly, I've been to the States. I visited a little bit, and it's not much difference. Honestly, there's a few things that are a little different. Like you guys go by miles per hour, we go by stuff. We go by kilometers. You guys do. We go by liters. You guys go by quarts or whatever. It's little things like that, but scenery wise, pretty much the same.
Wow, that's crazy.
But I gotta ask you though, MJ, because I'm really intrigued on this. What actually made you decide to become a publicist? Because like I've told many people, you're a damn good publicist.
I appreciate that. You know what? I kind of fell into it. I want to say accidentally. It wasn't something that happened purposely. My career before I went into MJ's Hip Hop Connex full time, I was a social worker for about 15 years. But I always did writing on the side. I wrote for a couple magazines and a couple of blogs. And then it started picking up a lot of magazines, a lot of blogs. Some artists were reaching out to me. They wanted some help getting onto some radio stations and things like that. So I just kind of like, I would love to do this full time. And don't get me wrong, I love social work, but after 15, almost 20 years, it kind of drained me, physically, mentally, everything. So I said, okay, I'm just going to kind of take a leap of faith and do this. And in a blink of an eye, that's literally how it happened. It just started from, journalism, writing from one blog, led to 10. Now it's up to 40 blogs, several magazines, working with many up-and-coming artists, established artists, major artists. So literally everything kind of just fell into place overwhelmingly, but in a good way. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So yeah, I think I kind of fell into it accidentally.
And you know what? A lot of amazing careers just happen accidentally. And when you said you were a social worker, if you don't mind me asking, what field were you in? Were you working with developmental, children, or special needs adults? If you don't mind me asking, what field were you really in?
No, not at all. I worked in co-occurring programs and drug and alcohol programs. I worked with at-risk youth. I worked with gangs. A little bit of everything when it comes to social work. So by year 15, 16, I was just kind of like, ugh, I don't think I can do this anymore.
It's understandable. It sounds like it's a tough field, but you know what I mean? I got to say, thank you for doing what you did for 15 years, because I grew up in group homes and foster homes and whatnot. So, there are a lot of people, when I was growing up, I saw, whether it's female staff or male staff, they can only last about a year in an environment like that. So you lasted 15 years. So I have to say, excuse my language, but you're a freaking champion.
You know what? You have to have really tough skin to be a social worker. And it's the same for the music industry. You have to have really tough skin. So, I'm blessed in the sense that I do have tough skin. And, being a female in the music industry, you have to have unbreakable skin. So, again, I'm blessed that I had that time in as a social worker, because I think it kind of molded me, my personality, how I maneuver, how I move, and just, again, being able to have that tough skin. You definitely need that in the music industry. You have to excuse my voice. I'm still kind of, trying to get back to normal here.
Hey, it is all good. I'm going to be honest with you, you know what I mean? It's going around, especially with this whole COVID-19, colds. It's even flu season right now. So at this point, you could have the flu or you could have COVID. So it's kind of it's a shitty situation, unfortunately.
It definitely is. I go out to the store, my daughter's like, Mom, you can't cough. She's like, you have to cough in the car. When we go to the store, you can't cough.
You can honestly though, if you have a mask on, and it sounds bad, if you have a mask on, just start coughing in your mask. People will move right out of the way. You never have to wait in line again.
That's true. I'm gonna try that.
I did it once actually, and people actually it looked like people were gonna run away from me. So I was like, oh shit, I better stop before I get punched out. But as you mentioned as well, MJ, that you were actually a journalist for numerous blog sites. I was wondering if can you tell us exactly what articles do you write about? Like I'm sure I already know, but for our listeners that don't know MJ, where can we where can we actually view your articles?
So a couple of the major ones that I'm on is The Word is Bond, Weekly Rap Guide, Insomnia Magazine. Those are some of the major ones. And I write about everything. I do music reviews, I do interviews, editorials, whatever kind of just piques my attention. You know, the thing about being in this field, that's one of the reasons why I love journalism, is because everyone says, you know, hip-hop's dead, there's no good music, this and that, and it's just like there's so much good music out there, people just don't know where to go to look and find it. So that's one of the reasons why I hold journalism, you know, so close to my heart, because you know, you put the headphones on and you press play and, like, your heart starts pounding because you can't wait to hear what you're going to listen to. So, yeah, anything from music reviews to single reviews for projects, vlogs, whatever.
And I gotta say as well, when you actually said, when you said people told you that hip-hop is dead, I'm gonna be honest, before I got into radio, I really thought that as well. I thought this mainstream bubblegum skinny jean bullcrap took over. But then I started really getting to know the industry now that I'm in it, and I'm realizing real hip-hop isn't dead. Unfortunately, it just got buried by today's society.
Right. And, you know, and let me say this, too, because when I start my radio show, this is going to be one of my disclaimers that I say to everybody. You know, hip-hop is not a genre of music. It's a culture and it's a lifestyle. And rap is the genre of music. And like all other genres of music, you have whatever you want to call them, categories or whatever. So rap has so many different categories. I just invite people to listen to what appeals to them. You know what I mean? There's gangster rap. There's, you know, you got the stuff on the West Coast. You got boom bap. There's so many different types of rap out there that we shouldn't be knocking people down for what they're putting out or what they're releasing. If it doesn't appeal to you, then don't press play. I'm personally not, you know, a fan of a lot of the newer stuff, you know, the bouncy trap kind of thing. For me, it needs to be lyrics and production together. Everything has to flow. Everything has to make sense. It's got to be like an epic canvas for me to enjoy it.
I most definitely agree. You know, like there is some artists that I came by within this industry that use a little bit of auto-tune, but they still have the lyrics, they still have the delivery. And then there's other people that use the same 3 words for 3 minutes, and it's like, okay, Little John did that, and he was good at it, but you know what I mean? You know, come on.
Right. You know what I think the difference is too is, you know, like we had Bone Thugs and Harmony, we had, you know, Andre 3000, we had all those rappers that sound a little bit like the newer rappers, but they were telling a story. You know what I mean? We were able to understand them. They had a message. A lot of times now, these younger guys, I think they're more just tuned into what the track sounds like than actually what they're saying and what their lyrical delivery is. You know what I mean? They're talking about popping pills. They're talking about just going in the clubs and pose and this and that. And yes, some of our artists back in the day talked about that stuff, but it was in a different manner. You know, it was more so much, this was my come up. Here I am now, look what I did, look what I had to go through. Where now it's kind of more of like glorifying it. And again, I think they're just more in tuned into how they want the track to sound. I want this to play in a club. You know, never mind what I'm saying on the mic. I just want people to dance. So, there's that difference, and I think a lot of times, too, the younger generation, they don't want to take the time to learn their history of hip-hop and the culture, and that plays a big part, too.
And also, MJ, as we already know, you are the owner and CEO at MJ's Hip Hop Connex. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners, like, who do you actually, like, do services for? Like, who do you not manage, but who do you publicist, sorry. And of course, what other services do you provide to the music industry? That way individuals that are listening, whether we're live or on demand, they can actually really hit you up for your services.
Absolutely. So for the major guys, I'm Rampage's official publicist and official publicist for the Heat DJs, and that's Rampage from Flip Mode Squad. Also, Billy Dan with MOP, Fedra Star from Onyx. I would do a little bit with Yo-Yo, a little bit with MC Light. Just picked up Special Ed. Does a Black Sheep. Just picked up Doodlebug for a project that he has coming out. So I work with a lot of classic artists who, and again, just for the record, for a lot of people who think, oh, they need to hang in, throw in the towel or, hang their hat or whatever. These guys never stopped working. They've continued to put out music. They've continued to be on tour, doing a lot of things behind the scenes as well. They've never stopped moving or grinding. So that's one of the reasons why I enjoy working with them, because I get to bring them into the light to show everyone what they've been doing and what they're working on. And then I also work with a handful of up-and-coming and established indie artists, and that kind of changes. It kind of varies. Sometimes it's long-term, sometimes it's short-term. And with MJ's Hip Hop Connex, we do a variety of different services, from artist development, if they need to get their music on music platforms, if they need, social media boosts, if they need bios, press release, DJ blast. We do radio campaigns, social media management and marketing, and of course the blogs and the magazine placement. So pretty much the publicist will take you where you need to be except for the show booking. We do not do performances, or we're not going to take you to the next level. A lot of artists will hit you up saying, take me to the next level, MJ. That's not a job.
In a way, though, you can take these individuals to the next level if they really want to, because interviews and television and radio appearances really do up the artist's game, but they have to be hungry for it.
Exactly, yeah. So what I'm referring to is like an up-and-coming artist who doesn't have their music on any platforms, who doesn't have any artist development, or just has one song out and hits me up and says, MJ, get me on Sway in the Morning. MJ, get me on Hot 97. We're not there yet, buddy. Slow down.
But you know what? I'm gonna be honest there, MJ. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna get to that point. And like I tell people this all the time when people because I have artists that reach out to me and they tell me like, hey man, do you know any other stations? Do you know individuals that I could reach out to help me boost my interview part of my career? And I always tell them MJ's Hip Hop Connex, because I know I said this multiple times, and even on my awards show, MJ, I said this to you, but you really helped myself as a radio, and not only as an interviewer, but my radio platform as well. You provided me with your client services, and it really boosted my interviewer career and my radio station. So for that, I have to say thank you.
That's so dope. I'm so happy to hear that. And likewise, like I told you on the award show as well, you've given so much time to a lot of artists that have come your way, that they always come back to me and say, that was a dope interview. That was my favorite one. I can't believe that was on Canada radio. So definitely likewise. I appreciate everything that you're doing over there.
Honestly, that's my goal. I know a lot of interviewers out there today, and I don't want to bust anybody's balls, but I do know that like they don't really ask proper questions. It's always the same questions for every person. I want to make sure that not only my listeners enjoy our conversations, but not the artists going to be like, yo man, I listened to this guy's interviews like the past week and it's the same shit. Like, you know what I mean? I want my listeners to tune in and be like, whoa, like this person did that? Yes. Like, really?
Exactly.
But also, as you talked about earlier as well, that you actually have a radio show that's actually debuting next month. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that, and of course, what's the format? Like, what do you plan on doing with your radio show? What can our listeners expect from that?
Yes, I'm really excited about that. I did actually have a radio show several years back with what I call my home base and my home team, which is UTM Radio based out of Philly. And I was doing that for quite some time, and I just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved interviewing people. Just the whole scene of it, I loved it. And I always said, I'm going to get back into radio. But it has to be a right fit. I'm just not going to jump onto anybody's, radio platform. So Wild One Radio, shout out to them. I've been linked with them for a couple of years now, kind of like the relationship you and I have. And they've been asking me for a while, to come join their station and have a show. So you know what, for 2021, that's what we're going to do. So it was supposed to launch in January, but then, I was sick for 2 weeks. It kind of put a damper on everything. So it's going to launch in February, the MJ's Hour. Excuse me. It's going to be an hour. It's going to be a mix of music,